I first came to the Lake District in 1970, I only knew the names of a couple of the fells. One was this one, Helm Crag. Although I didn't know it as that, I knew it as the Lion and the Lamb. I wasn't the only one, as Alfred Wainwright pointed out in his pictorial guide to the Central Fells. A lot of people come to the Lake District and don't actually know the names of the mountains, but they do know the Lion and the Lamb. In fact, that rock formation is so famous that it adorns the front cover of Wainwright's pictorial guide to the Central Fells. There's no caption required. Before I went up the fell, I used to imagine that the Lion and the Lamb were a little bit like the lions in Trafalgar Square, a sort of natural monument carved by the power of nature, which crafted a shape so recognisable that many a sculptor would be proud to call it his work.
But as with much of the Lake District, appearances can be very deceptive. The Lion and the Lamb is not all it appears to be. It may look very impressive from down here, but once you get up there, well, let's just say that some people spend an awful lot of time wandering over the summit and yet never actually see it, while other people think that they've seen it, when in actual fact they haven't. And some people even wander straight past it without giving it a second glance.
So why is a rock formation that looks so prominent from down here but subject to so much conjecture once you get up close to it? There's only one thing to do, and that's get a gear on and go and do a spot of lion hunting.
From Grasmere we're going to head up Easdale Road. It's almost a mile of fairly level walking and there's an off-road footpath nowadays. Then we'll turn right to head into the woods and start our ascent. We'll go through abandoned quarries and up a steep rock staircase onto a terrace overlooking Easdale. The last part of the 1300-foot climb is a rocky scramble, then it's on to the summit to explore one of the most surprising fell tops in the Lake District. 20 minutes after leaving the car and we're at the top of Easdale Road. No sign of the Lion and the Lamb from this side. Got a red squirrel in the trees though. Made a big comeback here in recent years, the reds. Oh, that's pretty. It's not big, but it's pretty. We're right at the start of December. We've still got some autumn colours to enjoy. That's lovely. Just a short way up and we come to this fenced area. Most people just walk on by, but I'm going to stop and have a little explore.
This is an old abandoned quarry. There's 2 or 3 of these on Helm Crag, on this side of Helm Crag. Unlike the ones over at Elterwater and down towards Coniston, which were primarily to produce roofing slate and for export, the stone that came out of here was pretty much for local use. This is where the stone to build Grasmere in effect came from.
I love the way that nature takes over these abandoned quarries.
Just love this old tree, don't you? Beautiful gnarled old tree covered in moss. Wonderful.
Yeah, I think I'd be gnarled and covered in moss if I was as old as that tree. Now, what have we got here?
It's a very cosy little quarryman's hut. We've got some kind of hole there, whether it was for a fire or some kind of waste. It could have been some kind of toilet hut, or it's not very big for sitting in. I mean, if you think I'm only 5 foot next door to nothing, and I'm nearly as high as the roof bit there, and if it had a sloping roof on, I wouldn't be able to stand up in that bit. So exactly what it was for, probably toilet. Could have been a bait hut, but I think it's a bit small for that. And it's too small for an office, but it's certainly part of the Old Quarries. It's pretty much, apart from the remains of the actual workings themselves, it's pretty much the only bit left.
Right, can't spend all morning looking at an old quarry. It's onwards and upwards, as they say.
So this section of the path is pretty much like a rock staircase. So it helps you make short work of what is quite a steep slope. Right, that's about a third of the way up, and that's the end of the staircase bit. The rest of it's a rocky track, still quite steep, not quite as steep as that, but it's got better views actually as you go up. You start to get views to your left, they are stunning, so it's a very enjoyable walk.
Isn't nature amazing? There can't be a lot of soil in that crevice, but those trees have found a way to get enough nutrients to grow. There you are. I told you the views up Far Easdale were good. Just to my right is Gibson Knot and the ridge along to Helm Crag. There's Sour Milk Gill, with Helm Crag on the right, and in the distance I raise. Nice close-up of Sour Milk Gill for you there. Looking back to the frost-covered vale of Grasmere. Beautiful. We're off for rock for this middle section, over halfway up now. A nice series of short rock scrambles coming up. Nothing difficult, but it does add interest to the walk. And now we start to get views to the northeast. The flanks of Great Rig and up to the summit of Fairfield, with Tongue Gill heading up towards Grisdale town. After a bit more rock scrambling, we reach the top. With stunning views across Far Easdale and beyond. But where is the famed rock formation? Right on the southeastern edge of the summit is where? This is what you see from Grasmere village. What we were looking at from beside the road. But it isn't the one pictured on the front of Wainwright's guide. This is the one on the book. It's 200 yards to the northwest, and it's also the highest point on the fell. It's what you see when you come down Dunmail Raise. It's often known as the Howitzer, as it resembles a field gun, although some people call it the old lady playing the organ. Either way, this is the bit that Wainwright never climbed.
And guess what? Neither am I.
Regardless of any confusion over the names of the rock formations, Helm Crag has some pretty spectacular views in every direction. It's a wonderful fell to climb at any time of year.